This week, we're bringing you a bonus episode, a conversation between Jill Robinson and Christina Littlejohn, the CEO of the Arkansas Symphony. It's a real-world look at what entrepreneurial leadership actually means in today's arts sector. Not waiting for stability, but making clear choices in the face of pressure. Christina and her team show how focusing on people, who's in the room, who feels welcome, who comes back, can shape everything that follows, from revenue to long-term sustainability. Welcome to Leading the Way.
I am so glad, Christina Littlejohn, that you've chosen to join me for an episode of Leading the Way. You're the, as we call it generically, the chief executive, but the CEO of the Arkansas Symphony. And you joined that institution in 2009, 2010. And I remember because we've talked along the way and recently about what it was like when you first got there, which was some financial challenge. And you made a pivotal, abundance-oriented choice at that time as you were considering whether to maybe eliminate concerts. You were facing some financial challenge. And you ended up making a very different decision. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, we had very big financial challenges. Our structural gap was $500,000, which on a $3 million budget is a lot of money. And so we analyzed everything in terms of what was bringing in money or not. And the Sunday concert was really, if you just looked at the numbers, the dollar figures, it was really hard to justify keeping that Sunday show. But it was close enough so that made the decision that instead of closing Sunday, we were going to make it free for kids on Sunday. And so we would go ahead and use that Sunday as an opportunity to see if we could actually grow our audience instead of shrink our audience. And it's been a great decision. It's so much fun. The first couple of years, we had some complaints where people were wondering the kids are rowdy. Then after a couple of years, everyone was so excited to see the kids. And then the comments I was getting was, it's so much fun to see kids coming to the symphony and enjoying the symphony. So we've had a sponsor. Right now, our sponsors make OZK for the free tickets for kids. And yeah, I'm really glad we made that decision. It's fun to see all the different generations. I love getting to see the grandparents, the parents, and the grandchildren because it's like creating all these family memories at the symphony. And I'm really glad we made that decision. Yes.
Leading the Way is about instilling belief and confidence in leaders in arts and culture. And so this orientation about abundance compared to scarcity mentality, I mean, that was a decision where you could have gone either way. You could have contracted. And while we're not going to talk about this exclusively, it signals to me, and I would want it to anybody who was watching or listening, the kind of leader that we've known you to be, which is if I have a choice, I'm going to choose abundance. And then you said, oh my God, we were walking on a tightrope in the next year to make sure that it all could work. But then it did, which led to under 18, which started to get the engine moving of belief. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's also something we don't think about it so much, but the energy of the younger kids in the hall actually really, and then that energy and then having a fuller house translates to the orchestra. The orchestra wants to play for a fuller house. And so it's a virtuous cycle.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So if we fast forward from there to today, so different, right? You have, some things that I know. You have grown to earned revenue, philanthropic revenue, all the people engaged, the type of people engaged. You've opened the Stella Boyle Smith Music Center, which will the Music Center in this context, you've gotten a big gift, the Morgan gift, to help inform and inspire and expand your thinking about what it means to be a citizen, a musical citizen. So as I say those to you, just give our viewers and listeners a sense of the path. Like, yeah, Jill, we've seen this kind of growth. This is what we've been through and experienced.
Well, I've been here 16 years, so it's been there's a lot on that path. Growing our audience is the most important thing. We want to serve our musicians by having a big audience. We want to serve our community by making sure that they're there to experience the concerts. And so we've really worked hard to make sure our concerts are accessible. And one of the things we started in 2017 was our concert memberships, which is like a Netflix model, $9 a month. I confess that we kind of went in and were kind of fearful for a little while. We were testing it to see if it cannibalized our subscribers, because that was going to be the worst situation, is if it cannibalized subscribers, because subscribers are still the platinum. They are the golds. They are everything we want. But we also need to grow our concert attendance. And so in 2023, post-COVID, when we'd seen our subscriptions drop, we were like, why are we afraid of this? We haven't seen any data to support that it's cannibalized. And there were 2% of our subscribers that became members, but we would have lost those subscribers anyway. They were there. They were the ones that were saying, well, we never make the concerts. We need something flexible. And so it's only a 2% switch. And so there's no cannibalization going. 2023, we're like, wait a second, our subscriptions dropped during COVID. Why are we waiting on this? Let's go all in. And so now we have close to 1,100 concert members. We've added a concert membership plus of $18 a month for better seats. But now there's close to 1,100 concert members, in addition to our subscribers, in addition to single ticket buyers, and the free tickets for kids. And it's just, the halls feel full. There's so much more energy in the hall. And the orchestra loves it. It's just, when a concert hall is full, there's a lot of energy there. And that energy then transfers into donations, into your case for support. People can really see that you're serving the community. The other fun thing with the concert memberships is we were looking at our demographics. We've kind of just been able to visually see that the demographics are getting different. But the last couple of years, we ran the numbers, and its demographics have shifted in terms of age. It's a younger audience. It also is more diverse in terms of race. And then the other thing, Arkansas is not a rich state. And so one of the things that we were fascinated by and excited by is 40% of our audience earns less than $100,000 a year. It's 40%. It's huge.
Yeah.
And so for our case for support, we're really serving our community. And it's great. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So it's another one where there's a lot of people that are afraid of it. We were afraid of it too, but then we realized, why are we waiting? What if the best thing happens and people want this?
Yeah. Okay. So this whole business about it starting in the venue. The last time you and I talked, you said that. You said everything starts in the hall.
Everything starts in the hall.
Yeah, let's just talk about that for a minute. Why there? What are the elements? What do you mean when you say that?
Symphony orchestra concerts are magical. It's a space where you have 70, 80 musicians coming together. Sometimes we did Mahler 7, and it's 96 musicians on stage.
Right.
All of those colors, all of that sound, there's nothing else like it. And it only happens those times. The concerts happen once, twice, and then they're gone. The musicians are practicing in their practice rooms by themselves so that they can make music for others, so that they can share their gift with others. And if you have a hall of people that are enjoying that moment and enjoying the orchestra, then the musicians want to play better because there's people there. They feel appreciated because they are appreciated. They're also, all of those people get to experience that magic together. And when you have a full hall, you also get to look at your neighbor and your strangers. And
how big is your hall? Just say, how big is your hall? How many?
2,200 seats.
Yeah, right. Okay, it's big. Keep going.
It's huge. It's 2,200 seats.
Right.
And if you get to experience something magical together, even if you were strangers, you get to look at each other and just remember that we're all the same. We're much more alike than we are different. And then the case for support also, we live or die on donations to Annual Fund. That's just the bottom line. We're a philanthropy. If nobody's donating to our Annual Fund, then we're not going to exist anymore. You can't make all your money off of ticket sales, no matter how hard you try or might try. And so when people are thinking about their donation to the Arkansas Symphony, they're thinking about, what is the Arkansas Symphony doing for the community? And when you look in the hall and you see the different generations there, or you see different people from all across the community, you know that the symphony is doing good work. You also know the symphony is going to be there 10 years from now. So this helps with my endowment gifts. People are much more likely to leave you an endowment gift, much more likely to leave you an endowment gift if they think that you're going to be there 50 years from now, that gift is going to be meaningful and that the organization is going to stay. And so I always think about the hall too in terms of endowment gifts. It's not just annual fund, it's endowment gifts. Plus endowment gifts come from people that make annual fund gifts. It starts with the music. Everything starts with the music. Then it starts in the hall in terms of people experiencing that music.
Okay, so you got a 2,200 seat venue. You know, it matters to musicians and to people in the venue, the experience that they have. And wow, we have had the privilege and real pleasure of working with you and your team on this very thing. Your provocation, your belief that everything begins in the venue. And when people look around and they see maybe gaping holes, or they see maybe people who are of a certain age or not, there's a whole sort of elixir of things that contribute to what people feel in that venue. Yeah. So talk about that a little bit, the things you observed and the work that we with your team did. I'm going to come back to your team in a minute because it was crucially important. You were invested in them. But the work that we did to help create maybe a better experience with more frequency, just describe that a little.
Absolutely. So one of the things that our team did with your expertise, we rescaled the hall. And so we've looked really, and then Brian's also paying attention to the prices in terms of where people are seating or not seating and where we need them to sit. Our hall is different than you would intuitively think it should go. It's interesting, our hall, and this was when our subscribers kind of aged out or what have you, but it's like the center, because of our hall, there's no good aisles. The center is actually hard to sell sometimes, whereas the aisles are. So we'll have big gaping holes in the middle of the hall.
Yeah.
And by looking at the data and looking at the price points and looking at where people are buying, we shifted that.
Yeah.
And so we shifted and put lower price points and put our concert members mostly are helping fill out those center sections. So we're still able to price high for the ones that people like the most, but we're able to now start filling up the house with the different price points and paying attention to it as well. Brian's doing a great job of just watching it.
Right. And you spoke of your concert membership, which is something you started, as you said, before the pandemic, went there. And as the pandemic unfolded and subscriber behavior shifted, membership behavior didn't. They stuck with you.
That was crazy. When we were looking at the numbers, we're like, wait a second, even our concert members never left us during COVID, which by all rights they could have because they weren't getting any concerts. So we had $45,000 just from our concert members. They didn't leave us either, which was fantastic. The other thing about the concert members that I think is happening is they see themselves as members of the symphony. So it's like people like to feel like they're part of something. So this adds to the sense of belonging. One of the things that I heard from one of our longtime patrons was, Christina, you've just done a great job of making sure that we all feel like we belong in the concert hall. And that shifting that demographic makes other people feel that they belong in the concert hall.
Right. The membership at the start was $9 a month, a very, very accessible entry fee, which changed a bit the demography of the people in your venue. So not only, as you've described to me and our consultant Kate has too, those members were able to help fill in. Weirdly, center orchestra, but because of your aisle situation, people were gravitating to aisles. And so looking at the data we saw open, but now you have a different, maybe slightly different type of person in addition to more bodies. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. It's beautiful. Like, it's just beautiful because you're looking at and you're like, oh gosh, our concerts really do represent our community. I can see.
Right.
Like my friend, or like our board member said, she said, Christina, I feel like I belong here now. You've done a great job. And I don't know that I've done a great job, but I think it's the membership thinking through everything you do in terms of what your mission is, every aspect of it, of your nonprofit. How are you serving your mission? And this gives us a chance to be accessible. And you had raised, we are super excited about our music center. And then we just launched a children's choir, and we have a lot of education programs. The other thing the concert membership does is it's an easy entry point. And you can enter and become a member at any moment in time. You don't have to wait till March to buy your subscription.
Right.
You can buy frequency immediately. You can jump in as a member at any moment in time for 12 months and magically become a frequent ticket buyer. Because they're using those ticket memberships. So we just launched a children's choir on October 25th. We now have 53 kids in the children's choir. So they can all become concert members right now. And you can also sell that concert membership immediately right after Star Wars. We've got 850 new to files. So that's an excellent prospect. Also, with concert membership, what's weird and delightful to see is that we have a lot of concert members that that's their very first experience with us is as a member. Because they're viewing it as a price thing. They're looking at like single tickets and they're going, oh, I can become a member for $9 a month. So why don't I do that? And so the more frequent ticket buyers I have, so even if they're coming in as members, the more concerts they go to, the more likely they are to be annual fund givers because you give to where you show up. So
preach. I'm just saying, preach. The reason I talk about this though, or bring the membership in is because when you started, it all begins in the concert hall is what you said. So when you think about it, you think about the decisions that you made to say, I want to engineer the best possible experience I can have all the time. So let's scale in a way that's data informed. Let's be clear-eyed about what's happening in our venue.
Right.
Because it has an impact on everything from how musicians feel up to how endowment gifts are perceived to be valued, perceived to be a good investment, perceived to be given to the right organization, perhaps. And you have, through this membership program, been able to, we're going to come back to that program, but through it, you've been able to use that packaging, that path in to put people amongst peoples, to mix people up a little bit in the most beautiful way.
Yeah.
Inside the venue. So I wanted people to be able to imagine that. I don't know. You said your subscriber, maybe age and demography isn't so different than your membership.
It's really not.
So they must be, they're not 80. No. Yeah.
It's, our subscribers are skew a little wealthier, a little older. But yeah, it was interesting to see that it's not actually that different. The other thing with the concert membership that was interesting for us was it isn't necessarily just the price accessibility. It's this is another reason why you got to check data, right? Because it's easy to make these assumptions. So it's easy to make assumptions that people are only becoming concert members because it's cheap. That is not actually true at all.
Yeah.
It's the flexibility piece. Also, it's really flexible to get into it and out of it. They don't really. And so we found that there are a lot of members that actually are very wealthy. And so we're just kind of watching that group. We're watching them individually to see who's using it the most.
Yeah.
And we're setting meetings with them and asking them to become board of advisors, or we find ways to see about the ones that are using it the most. Would they be willing to just start donating even $1,000 at the top, right? I have a concert member that's giving us $10,000 now, right? Like, so it is a pathway into some bigger gifts if you're paying attention to who's frequently using it.
Right. Okay. So you're speaking to something that is at the heart of, I know you, the people around you, your development consultant, we all believe in the pathway or the connective tissue and the working together. So just even that little nugget. I have a ticketing membership. We at the ASO are looking at the data for frequency. We are starting conversations with people who are the most frequent. I love that so much. So that's a lever. I want to go to levers.
Okay.
So,
all right.
If we start at one place, which is financially insecure, risk-taking, believing, testing and learning,
right?
And we've gotten to this place, which is big giving, new venue, growth.
Yes.
Pretty consistent growth, even during a really hard time. That means that you have assembled, curated, and coached a team that have known or been taught and learned how to make some decisions that have an effect. And that requires a team.
Yeah.
That requires staff.
Yeah.
And our work with you was designed to, of course, help grow revenues. Right now, what I want you to describe is the team that you had. When we started working with you 3-4 years ago, they were not so experienced, and yet you invested in them. Why?
Because it's important. It's important to invest in the people that are investing in you. You get one life. This is where they're working. So what can the symphony help them on their journey as well? And also, I tend to like to hire. It's not super easy to hire people that know all about orchestra marketing. I mean, it's insane to think that you can, right? So I try to hire people that are curious, smart, and want to do a good job and are not afraid of challenges and work as a team and want to work as a team. I do tend to hire, as I was thinking about it recently, they all tend to have some kind of musical background.
Yeah, I know you said that.
They don't necessarily all have a musical background, but I have noticed, I'm like, wow, I've managed to hire a bunch of musicians because musicians are curious. We want to grow. There's no such thing as perfect. We're always trying to get better, right? We're part of a team. I'm practicing my cello just so I can go play with everybody else on stage and put on Mahler for everybody, right? It gets the same thought process. And so I try to hire staff members with that thought process and then hire TRG to help get them coached because I honestly... I started in the field 30 years ago. The things that I learned about marketing, like I can tell you about how to put a postcard together. I can even tell you how to design a newspaper ad. But how helpful is that right now? Not at all. So, so that was, so I tend to, I really do. And I've got that on the development staff as well. I have a development consultant that I love and adore. And he works with us once a week. And the other thing is by investing in people and showing them that you care, they tend to stick around. And so our average tenure is around 9 years here. And when your staff stays, if you help them and they get to grow the way they want to grow, they will stick around. And if they know each other, this business of development and marketing, talking to each other, they talk to each other. Like we just know each other. And we can also, I was joking about, we've got our big ball this weekend. So we were thinking about how many lessons we've learned along the way with the ball, but how it's gotten so much easier because I've got the same team that's done it. And so we have failed at different times in different spaces, but we all were there together. And so now it's just people speak a similar language. They know what the other person...
Right.
They know what the other person's going to say and what that really means in real life. You can move your organization, you can grow your organization and have an abundance viewpoint when you have the same staff and when you're training them and you know they're doing a good job.
I realize as I'm listening to you talk, the question I ask is kind of counterintuitive. Like if you were in business and you hired inexperienced people, it would make sense to invest in them. Our field, arts and culture writ large, not just the orchestral field, doesn't invest. And you have this as part of your strategic plan. It is completely one thing to say it. It's a whole other thing to do it. And what I see often are organizations that invest in inexperienced or new to the field staff because they can, if I'm being candid, manage expenses. It would be, that's a choice. And that's a way to manage expenses and to invest in them, their education, whatever that looks like. There are lots of ways you could do that. Is not the knee jerk, and yet it was yours. Like I feel like it's a core belief, not just that you have, but that the Arkansas Symphony Board and culture. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and we even added in we just did a new strategic plan this year because we'd opened the music center, so we needed new goals.
Yeah.
And so one of the pieces in the vision statement is very clear, and there's only 5 facets, but one facet is invest in professional development for staff and musicians. So we're going to start adding more of the musician piece to it. Because we think about it with the musicians, they are hired, and then we expect them to continue to grow, but are we investing in them with a lesson, with this concertmaster that they might want? Or one of our musicians just went to the conductor's workshop. Like, how are we? So we're adding that into our into our mix as well. But yes, it's something that the board. Well, the fun thing is when you have a great staff, they get to know your board members, and your board wants to see them around. And again, it's not just knowing the staff; it's also getting to know the donors and the board members and the audience members. Just makes things. You're not spending time on the learning curve. You're spending time moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? If you're always in a learning curve, then you can never open a music center, right? Like you just can't get it done.
Right.
And so our board sees the value in that, and it's easy to see the value in keeping great people around. And if part of that is keeping great people around is investing in them, then you're going to do it. I'm just
here to tell you, not everybody thinks that way. I promise.
I know, and I think it's insane. I find it crazy.
And the cost of churn, the cost of not having a staff person is just so enormous on the revenue side. It's a total, not self-fulfilling prophecy, but false economy. This notion that by paying less than fair, by not investing, that somehow we're saving, and it's totally false. Okay, so you brought us in. Our consultant, Kate Hagan, worked with you and your team, Brian and Alicia especially. And they now, boy, they have really changed for the good. Wicked is being everywhere now. I've changed for good. It's on all kinds of commercials, but sorry, excuse the.
That's true. It's coming out now.
Yeah. But their ability to think strategically and data drivenly. And I would love to hear you talk about that, as well as what they call each other now. They call themselves the marketing.
They call themselves the Marketing Collective.
Yeah.
Which is great.
It
is. We also at Arkansas Symphony have a real team spirit. It's not, we try that. But those two, yes. It's not just the two, it's Darren and Courtney as well.
Yeah.
Are the Marketing Collective. And again, it goes to that shared wins and supporting each other. And over with Kate's help, and as they've grown, we've realized where one is really great at X and one is really great at Y. And honestly, at the very beginning when we hired them, we weren't exactly sure. And so Kate has been able to, in the years that they've stayed here too, we've been able to suss out where one is brilliant and where one doesn't want to play.
Get them in the right place.
Yeah, exactly. Put them in the right place.
Yeah.
And because marketing is there's so much to do. Miss the old days when I could just run a couple newspaper ads, right? Like I think I even used TRG back then, back in Mobile. It was a long time ago. But I mean, I loved being able to just have the right postcard and the right radio spots, but it is way beyond that now. And I thought we were busy with marketing then in terms of group sales and trying to build partnerships. But now it's like with the digital and the messaging and
demography and the segmentation.
Yes, all the segmentation.
Yeah.
And one of the wonderful things about concert membership is that the emails are reminders that they have a ticket. Here's what you're going to experience at this concert that you already have a ticket to. So we're able to just talk to them about the music a lot more, which is really helpful. But again, it goes to that segmentation. So in order to actually take advantage of the members, we need to be communicating in a way that makes sense for the members versus a way that makes sense for single ticket buyers or this, that, and the other. And so it's really critical that you have a collective, and it's really critical that they support each other. And it's still with a strategy, making sure that we're focusing in on the right thing and then using the data to help us discern what is the right thing. Because there's like a gazillion things you can do for marketing now. So where do you need to focus? So
we together believe in the power of recurring revenue, that repeatable renewing revenue. And you and I have been in this business long enough to remember that, really it's only one model of recurring revenue gets in ticketing that gets the most attention, as talked about, which is subscription. And it's been dead since the mid-90s or something.
Right.
But one of the really interesting one of the levers that your team learned to pull, you'd already implemented the system. And so with a less experienced team teaching data, they began to observe lots of things, some of which are kind of remarkable about that program. Like, for instance, you have subscribers that also buy the membership.
Yeah.
Like, what's that about?
Okay, we've been in the field long enough. So here's another thing that we hear all the time is that Masterworks people like Masterworks and Pops people like Master Pops, and they will never cross over.
Right.
End of the story. And then chamber music only really appeals to 200 people, period. End of story. And that's what we've realized is our subscribers. So some of our board members too. And it was funny. Bob was like, I'll tell you why. He goes, I want my exact seat for Masterworks. He's like, I need to be on the keyboard side. I want that seat. That's where I want to be. He's like, but I kind of want to go to the Pops concerts now and then. And I kind of want to check out the chamber series. And he's like, and it's only $9 a month. And so it's no big, and now I can say I'm a member. And so I think that I am sure that's the draw. I think that's the other lovely thing that's happening with the generation shift is people don't have a clue what Masterworks or Pops really means, right? It's just a concert. It's Gershwin. It's Gershwin on Pops. It's Gershwin on Master. Who knows? I just still want to go hear this piano player, and there's this, and that sounds interesting, and so that's been fun too. So I think that is. They want, or the Pops lovers are the same way. They love their seat for Pops. That's where they want to hear that singer when she walks on stage. But some of the Masterworks look kind of cool, and sometimes I might want to go check out that chamber series. Yeah.
So in our client base, it's theaters and classical music organizations that are most frequently testing this ticketing membership.
Okay.
It's interesting. I expect and imagine that presenters will start to adopt it too because they've got so much product in a variety of genres, but it's these two genres. And two other things about ticketing memberships that I've observed. You've spoken to one of them. On the frequency side, frequency is such a driver for the ways that we can think about recurring revenue because the more often you are attending, the stickier you are. And the stickier you are and the more frequently you participate, the more likely you are to say, yes, I consider making an investment philanthropically, etc. So in a theater company that I'm thinking of, the average frequency of attendance in the year was something like 11 events. And I wonder if I know, it was surprising. I wonder if you know what numbers. It is very high. They've got long runs, right? So if you find that you love a show, you might come back a second or third time. And
that's true.
These Uber buyers, what are you seeing in terms of frequency, and who are what's the frequency of the people you're mining for a philanthropic gift?
Those guys, we're calling them our active users.
Yeah.
And the number is 5. So 5 makes you an active user. And then what we're finding, 1/3 don't come to anything. They just want to be members, which is fine because we can take their money. It's not hurting. It's fine. Please just give us money. That's great.
Yeah.
And then I think about 1/3 are active users, and then 1/3 are around that 1 to 2 times a year.
Okay. All right. So even as we think about the work that we're doing to try to encourage, again, along the ladder of, I've come for the first time. And then a big hurdle we've got to get over in the field is getting you just to date us again, come back a second time. This kind of program not only enables me to test with what is perceived to be a really cost-efficient price, although you add it up on a monthly basis and on a year, I'm making an investment, right? But it also, the data tells the story that these are people who are as frequent as some of the subscription packages we offer and some of the other more loyal patrons in our database.
Right. And it's possible our subscribers aren't coming to all 6 of their concerts or all the
so totally.
They're coming to just as many, I would guess, as subscribers. And we do have, it's at least a handful that literally come to every single concert. Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Wow. Right. They're the Uber lovers, the fans.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing you've learned is about their preferences, or at least their willingness to go with you on programming. So while you might have assumed they'd all attend Carmina Burana or Beethoven's Ninth Symphony or, pictures at an exhibition, those are kind of blockbusters in the classical music genre. It's not totally the truth.
No, it's fascinating. Again, this is really fun because this is a different way we get to talk to members.
Right.
And it's another one for better or worse, because music education wasn't really taught, I don't know how many blockbusters there are left for us anymore. So it's a new way of getting to talk to them about the music. But what we have found is they use the concert membership a lot. Our highest attendance so far has appeared to be when we have a Arkansas Symphony musician as a soloist. Right? Which is like, okay. So we just recently, Leanna Renfro did a beautiful oboe piece. It was short, but it was oboe, and it sold really well. That was our second highest show of the year. Another one, it was Carolyn Brown did a flute concerto, and that was the second highest one of her year, like that year. So there's a lot of support for our local guys. Anyway, it's just fun to watch this, and so So I don't know. I just know that there was nothing else. Like on the Carolyn Brown one, there was the Samson Organ Symphony, so we did get to talk about the organ too. So maybe that I'm sure that was a draw as well. But Leanna's had the Mendelssohn. We did Mendelssohn Midsummer Night's Dream excerpts from it. Yeah, and it was a really cool program, but it also did really well. So I think there's, I don't know if it's causation or correlation, whatever it is, but we have noticed that. And so we're going to try really to talk more about our own musicians and to make that connection between the musicians and the music even stronger.
The ability to showcase an organization like yours who is testing and learning some of these new ways, because what is true is that, you go back to 30 years when we were in marketing, doing print ads and radio spots. And now, what is true is that different demographic groups prefer different types of entry points in, and the subscription isn't the only path. Ticketing membership is another one. Even people in a database who are buying frequently outside of the membership, I'm not sure why you would really in your case, but the definition of loyalty to us, and I know to you, is about frequency. How can we grow the frequency so that we can start to get to know each other better? And so this is a segue to the conversation about a North Star. So you referenced your vision statement, but you described your North Star, part of which is about being able to provide employment for a group of musicians.
Yes.
And recurring revenues, repeatable, countable income is part of the way that, especially in a market that, Little Rock is not San Francisco. It is not New York City. So being able to create an engine that gives you some confidence that you could retain this art form,
right?
Just take it from there.
Yeah. Arkansas is an interesting state in that it doesn't have string players. There's not a strong foundation for teaching strings, definitely not in Little Rock and in Central Arkansas. And so there are a few high schools or a few middle schools, but in general, there's very few string instruction here. And so, so we have a core of full-time string players so that we can actually put an orchestra concert on. And then in addition, we've added the Music Center has allowed us to add some teaching roles for musicians as well. So we've got the new String Academy and the cello players, and I just added an intro to violin class. And so we're looking for
adults could be part of that intro class.
Yes, that will happen next. We wanted to start with the babies first.
Yeah.
But we're looking at adding the adults for sure. Anything that we can do to find work for musicians so that they can afford to live here.
Yeah.
And in terms of the sustainable, absolutely. So that's another reason why annual fund is so important to us. And you're right, concert memberships, subscriptions, anything that if you're going to promise to give the musicians a raise over X number, which you're going to do because you want to make sure you treat people with respect. So you're going to give everybody a raise. Well, you can only do that if you know you have sustainable revenue. The only responsible way to do it is if you have sustainable revenue. Yeah, so we've also focused on growing our endowment. So our endowment's grown a lot since 2009. And then, yes, membership, subscriptions, and annual fund. And again, still everything in the hall is still based on growing that annual fund because people, when they come to your concerts, you make your case, you serve the community, then it makes it a lot easier to raise money for annual fund, which is sustainable, mostly sustainable.
It's really interesting to me at this time, post-pandemic, when during the pandemic, we saw it was laid bare, the infrastructure and the costs associated with nonprofit arts and culture. And when there's no income, all you see is the cost.
Right.
And the costs were growing because of inflation, and that continues to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question about how, if you stick with classical music, how you serve a community through this collective agreement we've got with a group of musicians who've been trained for years to be excellent and to play new music and to play the best of the repertoire. How do you balance? How does your organization balance that history and legacy,
Mm-hmm.
and those attitudes, maybe even with Little Rock, Arkansas? Like, how do you do? You're describing some of it, but I feel like this is kind of the North Star concept, right?
Yeah, I think for us, I've been thinking about this. I think one of the keys is to have a vision that engages enough, that engages as many possible, that excites people so that they want to own the organization.
Mm.
And if you can get then everyone in alignment with that North Star, with that vision, then people are moving towards it together and spend less time fighting each other, right? And so when I talk about owners, I'm thinking about here, it works, it's definitely here. So I'll just stick to Arkansas. But our musicians are on board with that vision. Our musicians have been on, we talk about the same things together. We have a shared language, the board, the musicians, and the staff.
Yeah, yeah.
They are at the table when we're creating these vision statements. They are at the table. They're in every committee. There's musicians in practically every committee that we have.
Yeah.
And so I think that key piece of ownership, I think the musicians own the success of the organization as much as anybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the brink of bankruptcy. The musicians had to take a pay cut, the staff had to take a pay cut, and the board members increased their giving massively. And so because we've been able to grow and continue to serve the community more, and because more of us own it, we can all be excited about it, right? So I don't know that answers your question, but I have been thinking about it, like whether it's Little Rock or what have you, but I know that our negotiations have been very collaborative, and it's the same idea. We're still looking at the same goal. We have this shared vision. The musicians at the negotiating table, the staff, the board, we're all working with this shared vision.
So then that enables a historically inflexible art form. And I came from this industry, and historically inflexible, sometimes attitudes about how my time will be spent, to be more flexible and to meet the needs of a community. And I just want to celebrate that. It's quite something.
Yeah. I think it's really, again, and yes, and I just spent 2 weeks in Patagonia, and one of the things I was thinking about was just, I think it's the ownership piece of the puzzle. I think we are all owning the problem back in 2009, and we all get to own the success. And we all were in alignment together where we were headed.
Let's say to each other, just give me last 5 years, last 10 years, you've seen earned revenue increase by how much-ish? Just give me the data point that you tell the story about most frequently.
The budget's grown. The budget is now close to $4.5 million.
Okay. And when you got there, it was around 3.
Yeah, we had to cut it to 2.8 million.
Huh? Yeah. Okay.
So it was 2.8 and it's now 4.5. So the earned is definitely grown.
There it is. So we went from 2.8 to 4.5, and it's grown through a combination of earned and philanthropic income.
Yeah. So it's really a force now. It's like, okay, that's making a lot more money than it used to.
Yeah. That helps with annual operating. Part of the inspiration that we want to put out into the field, especially right now, is a belief that leadership behavior can have an influence on organizational results.
Yes.
And I know, but not
every
all
business book tells you that.
Yeah, it does indeed, Christina. And yet not every leader behaves in a way that you have. So if I were to characterize the things that I have learned about you, it is that I believe that if I'm choosing abundance versus scarcity, I'm going to tend toward abundance and see if we can't make it work. I believe in people and investing in them. I believe in trying things and failing. And I'm curious about when you make a decision to invest in a Limbacher or a TRG, you're deciding to do something different. And I'd love for you to characterize why you would decide to do something different and what you see the results of that at the Arkansas Symphony have been.
Okay, this is going to sound, I don't know how this is going to sound. I think it's extremely important. And I definitely have staff members that would say that. I'm very competitive. I am extremely competitive. And there was one staff meeting. It was the end of the year. And we broke even. And one of the staff members brought in the song, "All We Do Is Win, Win, Win," right? People want to be part of a winning team. Who wants to be a board member of a losing team?
Yeah.
Who wants to be on the staff of a losing team?
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Right.
And so I know that if I can hire people that are really much smarter than I am and they can help train the staff and they can always be there with expertise and they're still like, you're always learning new things and John's always learning new stuff and they're trying new things. And so why in the world wouldn't I want to make that investment? Because only good things happen when you invest, when you're going for, if you're going for gold, what kind of coaches do you want to get you there? You also, it's just like playing a cello, right? Or an instrument. I keep saying cello because that's my instrument.
Yeah.
But you get better when you have private lessons, right? The other thing with a private lesson is you have a coach that's holding you accountable.
Yeah.
So Limbacher is with us once a week and he holds everybody accountable once a week, whether we like it or not. There it is.
Right.
And the same with you guys. Kate is checking in and Kate's like, well, did you check on these things? And the resources that we have are so few. And one of which is time. The resource of time is something that all of us have very little of. And so if I can hire experts that can help make sure we're allocating our time in the most appropriate ways, that's going to have the biggest impact on the organization possible. And even if I'm competitive and I just want to win, what I really want to win at is serving more people with music and being able to hire more musicians so that they can have more livelihood here. So my winning is placed in a good spot. I do think y'all help us keep on track. You keep us accountable and there isn't much time in the world. And so if there's a smarter way to do something, then I want us to do it that way.
Yeah. And you and I have talked about the bright, shiny lights during crisis. Like people now are clutching at all kinds of things. It's human instinct.
Yeah.
So part of it too is knowing what to stop doing sometimes, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're totally game for trying things. We call it iterative learning or fail forwards. But we're experimenting, but we're still experimenting with a focus on we all know what the goal is. It's not like we're not experimenting with weird things. We're focusing in on sustainable revenue, stickiness, and how can we serve the community more? Like I did just add the children's choir, but I think that that's going to help us. And I added some more programs. One, we got a grant to help pay for it. So the grant is paying for it, but it's also, again, back to the generational. I'm going to get the kid. I'm going to get the parent. I'm going to get the grandparent. And with a concert membership, it makes it easy for them to come to a concert and check it out. And now they're going to be members of the symphony in some way or fashion. I got more owners now in the organization.
Right. When you fail, when the organization fails, what do you do? I'm actually just genuinely curious. Do you pull it out and go, look at this failure? When you fail, what happens?
Oftentimes we might just to see what we learned from it for sure. Like we tried this and it only moved the needle this much. And we really wanted to move the needle here.
Yeah.
And so let's try something else. Or we very rarely would make a huge gamble. So there's very rarely like a big fail that we can't pay for. But yeah, we pull it out just so we can learn from it. Absolutely. We've got our big ball this weekend. And I was thinking about the ball. I was talking to somebody that's there, his first ball. He's our finance director. He's like, it's my first one. I'm like, the good news is everybody in that room has done it before. Many people in that room have done it for all the years that we did have massive fails. So we've fixed all that. Like every year gets to be a big fix.
Yeah.
So we do. We try to learn from it and decide. sometimes you might have 4 different goals. And did it fail on one goal, but it succeeded in that? If so, then is it still worth doing? Or if it just, what can we usually learn? Well, it's definitely what do we want to learn from it? Everybody here is learning. Everybody wants to learn. So I think it's also super important to have fun. I think sometimes we forget that humor and joy is a big part of what we do. So part of what helps the staff want to stick around is because we celebrate. Or if you're going to win, then you get to celebrate. So we do a backstage toast with the board and the staff and the musicians. At our July board meeting, we have champagne toast and people get to say what their favorite moment of the year was. And we do pranks around here sometimes, right? Like I think it's really important. I think sometimes we get so serious with our Beethoven or Mahler and we can get so serious. And I think it's really important to remember to have fun in the process.
Well, it is seriously good fun working with you in the Arkansas Symphony.
Thanks, Jill.
That's what I know. And I know Kate Hagan, if she was in this room, would say it too. She's so pleased with the way that your team has just grown in their strategic sort of orientation of the work and the kind of partners they are to you in the orchestra now.